Here I am after so many years, hounded by hatred and trapped by fear. I'm in a box. I've got no place to go. If I follow my mind, I know I'll slaughter my own. Help me, I'm the prisoner. Won't you hear my plea? I need somebody, yeah, to listen to me. I beg you, brothers and sisters, I'm counting on you, yeah. Black babies in the womb, shackled and bound, chained by the caveman who keeps beauty down, smacked on the ass when they're squalling and wet. And to a spineless man who never forgets, never forgets that he's a prisoner. Can't you hear my plea? 'Cause I need somebody, Lord knows, to listen to me. I'm a stranger to my son who wonders why his daddy runs, yeah.
Reading peace and love and black power. Welcome again to the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition podcast. My name is Frank Brown. I'm with my brother
Abdul.
And can't forget who is also a former political prisoner. Today's episode, we recognize the contributions and sacrifices and commitment of our beloved comrade and who's been granted political asylum by the nation of Cuba, and we honor her. Her name is Assata Shakur, for those who don't know, and we recognize her in this day of International Working Women's Month because of who she is and who she remains, as she continues to speak out against injustices. And this is this consciousness that was instilled in her by her grandparents, who told her, don't say yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am. When you see certain people, you hold your head up, because if you don't, we're gonna knock it off your shoulders. So she was raised rather into thinking a certain way. And as she had a number of experiences with other oppressed people, she decided that if she's going to take on the title of a revolutionary, she has to live by that. Meaning that she had to take action. She was a member of the Black Panther Party. She then was a member of the Black Liberation Army, and those experiences helped her to be the woman that she is now, and to help us know who she is and what her position is. So anyway, we have somebody who's gonna speak right now, and hey, sister, peace and love. Alaikum salam. Where you speaking from? Yeah. Hey, sister, hold on. I was trying to figure out how to put this on speaker so everybody can hear you. But while Haqq figure out how to do that, I'm gonna keep talking. It's very important that we recognize Assata Shakur and what she contributes to us in terms of us moving forward. And it's very important that people understand who she is, so we pass on her legacy to the next generation. And we understand that everybody who's raising a young black woman in an oppressed society must make that teaching available to their students, who are their children. Hello, sister. Peace. You on?
Yes.
Yeah, so today we dedicate this episode to Assata Shakur. We said that she made contributions to our people moving forward, and we want to recognize her contribution just like we recognize yours, Sister Joy Powell. So everybody's listening to you right now.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's a blessing. Yes. Assata Shakur is my cousin slash uncle Kamal Siddiqui. That was his common law wife's baby mother, and so I've been in the struggle and knew about the struggle ever since I was a young kid. And yes, all power to Sister Assata Shakur. And would you like me to explain my plight?
Yeah, go ahead, sister.
Go ahead, sister. Hold.
Okay. Yes. Basically, I'm a 21st century slave, held hostage in Bedford Hills Correctional Facility in New York State, due to my commitment to human rights, equality, and justice for all. And prior to my two wrongful convictions, I was known as a voice for the voiceless in upstate New York, Rochester, New York. And I had an organization for children at risk and created a safe haven after a child was murdered on the side of my hair salon. We closed it. It was a big building and turned it into a safe haven for the children. And they had 3 hot meals a day. We did anti-violence skills with them, organized street cleanups, prayer vigils, candlelight vigils for murder victims, and we provided the children, of course, with new clothing, book bags, tutors. They did shows at community centers, schools. We took them to a few jails, but a lot of colleges to let them know that that didn't have to be inevitably the outcome of their life. And in the process, I was raising four sons, and two of my sons had been murdered. One was killed in 2001. His name was David Wright. He was shot in the back while he walked down Fulton Avenue, and he died the next day. And I also had a son that was killed since I've been incarcerated, and I've been incarcerated in Bedford Hills since 2007. And basically, I turned up when a young man got killed by the police that was mentally ill, and that's when I became a target based upon the stance that I took against police. I started doing court watch 5 days a week, and I would go. I had a radio from Radio Shack, and anytime I heard the police going to a domestic violence situation or someone that was mentally ill, I would zoom to that location. And a lot of times that prevented someone from getting killed, or they was already killed. However, I began to call out corruption, which what it was, because the mayor's office and the police chief, they would taint the investigations before they even got started by way of the calling the media. And so I would call press conferences and speak out against the murders by the thugs in blue. So due to the cold, callous, reckless and mired decisions making by the Rochester Police Department, they began to hate me, and so I was on their number one hit list, basically. And I therein also was very concerned and spoke out for structural conditions of African Americans and poor people, which were then and still are abhorred. And it's a shame that all whites make all the decisions for people of color, yet they hold no accountability for all of the senseless racial profile killings on our blacks, Latinos, and mentally ill people. I've also had a lot of organized rallies for against education deprivation and healthcare experiments on people of color, and the unemployment and homelessness. And speaking of which, I think that it is totally erroneous and arbitrary and capricious that New York City would have so many homeless people that someone would just go and start killing the homeless people. What, they shouldn't even be sleeping on the street. And that was one of my concerns, and basically still is. And within the P-Now system, I do a lot of work here and have been a target and was in solitary confinement for 3 years straight for having a voice. And they had a sign up in the visiting room every time someone would come visit me to make sure that they didn't kill me. They had this big sign in the visiting room over the children's play center that said "Joy is unbreakable." So I had this interview, yes, with a young man that was doing a documentary on political prisoners named Edwin, and I told him about the sign, and in the next 2 days when I went on a visit, the sign was they had painted over it. But they realized that no matter what they was doing, taking me through the meat grinder, it still wasn't making me silent, and I began to teach the ladies how to write, and instead of act, out when they were being taunted and beaten by the police in here. And so a lot of the disciplinary guidelines have changed, and I began to file lawsuits, prepare lawsuits, even for my son that was murdered in 2018. He got killed by the police in Rochester. They shot my son over, I heard, 100 times.
Oh,
wow.
His name was Terrell Blake.
Mm-hmm.
You truly are unbreakable, sister.
Pardon me?
I said you truly are unbreakable because your story is a story that needs to be told, and other people need to listen so that they can find inspiration. Because you know, like Assata Shakur, she had to undergo the torture mentally, physically, and just like you have to go undergo torture mentally and physically. You know, so we salute you, sister, and we honor you.
Oh, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that. Yes,
And more sisters need to be like you. You know, the American ideal for a female is a dumb bunny blonde. You understand? You know, a Barbie doll. You know, they ain't got a lick of sense. That's the American ideal for a female. You understand? But you are the grand example of a sister standing up and fight proud like a queen. You know, and we getting your voice out there. You know. And most sisters need to be like you.
Well, all right. I thank you so much, and I'm honored to be on your show and appreciate what y'all are doing out there. You know, just putting it out there. And and based upon what they did as far as Erase the Sign now, a clothing line has been launched for a part of my legal defense because they they confiscated all of my legal property and threw it away. Hundreds of dollars worth of transcripts and prepared lawsuits, and also challenging both of my cases. So a young lady named Grace out of California, she launched a clothing line for me. It's hoodies and shirts, t-shirts that says "Joy is Unbreakable." And also Queen Warrior Joy. And I would love if people out there that's listening under the sound of my voice would go to bonfire.com and purchase one of the shirts to help with this legal defense that I am trying to get sparked out there as far as getting all of my legal property back and basically sending my scud missiles to the courts because this is wrong. I was found guilty twice by an all-white jury. Told one of my witnesses, a white witness, he said that my lawyer told him he couldn't even say that I was clergy or an activist because the judge didn't want him to, or he would get in trouble. And as it turns out, I just was sent some paperwork about that lawyer, David Owens in Rochester. He was suspended for fraud, deceit, and lies. Right. And one of the judges the judge in my homicide cold case, which they conjured up some falsified evidence to try to get a conviction, and when they my co-defendant was exonerated, they was grasping for straws and used a rap tape and said that it was me rapping about a murder, which was a lie, and they had no proof that it was my voice, when it was produced, where it was produced, or anything. And basically, I was found guilty by that all-white jury in less than a week.
You know, a lot of us was found guilty by all-white juries. It's a common thing.
In the Assata Shakur's situation, they said that was a kangaroo court and that it was a legal lynching. Would you say your situation is the same?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And I'm still like because they know that I'm connected to Assata Shakur based upon my little cousin, which is her daughter, Kukuya, and my cousin. I call him Uncle Kamal because my mother and father died when she was 6 months, and her older sister raised her, which was Kamal's mother. So, being that they had him incarcerated on false charges and told him if he couldn't get Assata to come back to America, they would release him or he would die in prison. He said, "Well, I'm a dead man," and so they came for me. But I've learned, that without a voice, you'll never be heard. And if you don't stand for something, you'll go for anything if you don't stand for something. And I refuse to be a gopher.
So we're glad we can put your voice out there. But dig this here. Can you do us a solid? We got a move that we making in Brooklyn to stop this murder. Black people murdering one another. And we understand that you used to do that type of work. So can you send some words to these folks out in the street, this madness, stop this madness? Maybe so, that we can use as therapy. You understand? Because we got to stop this killing.
Yes, people out there. I mean, we cannot get out there and say that Black Lives Matter if we're killing each other.
Right.
Left or right. Basically, we have to love ourselves because killing your brother is called fratricide, your brother or sister. And please, love. And if you can't love, first love yourself. And if you love yourself, you'll love your brother and you won't want to harm your brother. We need to stand up and say that we're not going to do this anymore, because if we can't stop killing each other, then why would we expect the white man to stop killing us?
Right. That's the same way the Hoover said that love is a universal principle. You understand? Jeff Ford, leader of the Blackstone Rangers, the same thing. The love is the answer. And his daughter Amina is got a movement in Chicago, the Interrupters. And the message is love. So love is the answer.
Absolutely, love is the answer. And if we could get love, then we could become positive and not allow negativity to have a front row seat in our lives. We'll put down the guns and we'll put down the knives and put down the negative words and speak life into each other.
Right. Because with love, if a beef the beef is 99% resolved already when we got that love in our heart.
That's right.
And ain't got to go nowhere crazy.
That's right. As love isn't what it says, it's what it does.
That's right, sister. Yeah.
All right, sister, before we let you go, we want to ask you a very important, powerful conversation, because we not only do a podcast, but we make time to go out into the community, because we were out in Queensbridge and we gave out some free clothes for babies. And also we was participating with Transform America, my brother and our good brother Sugar Ray. We want to ask you from your position, make a statement to the community about their importance about getting involved in the struggle to free our political prisoners. How they are the backbone of this work.
And that include you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, please. Wow, brother, that's right. That is very important to try to free our political prisoners, because we have given our lives. We're considered martyrs. Like a lot of political prisoners, we're in here for crimes that we did not commit, or either crimes that we had to. Some of them had to commit to save other lives. And basically, I don't condone committing crimes, but what I'm saying is, like, I feel that it is totally preposterous for the police to say that it's wrong to kill, yet they kill us, or yet they put us in prison and hold us hostage for decades and decades. to rot in jail, and then release some of the political prisoners when they're on their last leg. Yeah. Please stand up, put out petitions, write the governor, organize rallies, go to your legislators, your Congress people, and demand that they will free all political prisoners, because when one political prisoner is in prison, all of us are in prison. So free us, free us.
Free them all.
Free them all.
Free them all.
All right, sister, we appreciate that.
You're going to be free, sister.
Thank you so much.
And you're always welcome to speak your mind on our podcast, because it's very important that we recognize all our political prisoners, because we say that these are freedom fighters and they're not terrorists.
The officers calling me, so God bless. God bless. Y'all take care.
All right, peace and love, sister. Black power.
Tell that pig.
Yo.
Tell that pig I said.
Yo.
All right.
All right, peace, sister.
All right.
Shields up.
All right, shields up. Peace.
Peace.
All right.
The caller has hung up.
Y'all heard it from the sister, our political prisoner. It was very important that she got to speak. Yeah, you hear us?
Yes, I'm here.
Right on,
all right, sister. Peace and love.
Come on
Peace
in.
and love back at you. How are you?
Come on
we
in.
feeling good. We're glad to have you on. We got past the technical difficulties, and we just want to get you on to speak your mind.
Listen, it was so good listening to our sister speak from incarceration. I have been out there a couple of times to visit her, but definitely I'm hooking up with, I think, also you, Frank, and with Natasha, we're going to be going back out there again. We hope in the next
looking forward to it.
Sure that Joy doesn't think we've forgotten about her, because so often with our political prisoners, we will say we just got busy or whatever, but we cannot use that as an excuse, because they never said they were too busy to fight that battle and continue to fight for us. So I want to talk just a little bit about Assata Shakur.
Straight ahead.
Assata and I were born on the same day, July 16th. And so was Ida B. Wells. So I just consider that a strong day for Black sisters. Assata, I'm going to give just a little bit of information on her for those who don't know. She was part of the Black Liberation Army fighting for our liberation. She was involved in a shootout May the 2nd, 1973. And of course, it was on the New Jersey Turnpike. And what the officer said was that they were missing a headlight, but they were actually trailing them. But anyway, it ended up being a shootout where one police officer was killed, and our brother Assata Shakur was also murdered by the police at that time. The thing about a lot of the killings that they claim that our political prisoners have done to police officers are, there's no witnesses, there's no proof, there's no gun. But when this government said, that's what you did, then that's what you did. So they knew that about Assata Shakur. So Assata, of course, was on the run. She was finally caught, and she was put in the hospital. Then because she was shot, and then from the hospital she went into Clinton prison, where some of our revolutionary brothers, and I understand a sister was involved, a woman was involved, got her out of prison. She was underground, and Fidel Castro took her into Cuba, and where she is still in Cuba now. I was in Cuba February, right before the pandemic broke out, February 19th. And I had the pleasure of meeting Gloria Rolando. Gloria Rolando wrote and directed the documentary movie called Eyes on the Prize in 1997. And I did get to meet in Cuba and sit and talk with her. We did not get a chance to see Assata. If you go into Cuba, it's very, very difficult because somebody may have a trail on you. And Assata now has a $2 million price tag on her head. And she's the only woman on the terrorist list by this country. Now, the interesting thing is she went on the terrorist list in, I believe 2013. Well, in 2013, the president of this country was Barack Obama. So she went on the terrorist list, although people say, well, he's not the FBI, he's the president of the United States. She went on the terrorist list under Barack Obama. And while I'm on that crazy situation, often people they talk so much about the fact that that Barack Obama did this, Barack Obama did that, but Barack Obama had a lot more power than people think that he had. Barack Obama, when you are the president of the United States, you don't have to get anyone's permission to free any federal prisoners. So we have prisoners now that are there. Matulu Shakur. We have a couple others. I'm trying to, their names are slipping me right now. But we have Varanza. We have political prisoners now that all Biden would have to do is sign his name at that time, and those prisoners could be set free. So, well, I'm saying that to say that with Assata Shakur, it was just very obvious. So under the Barack Obama administration is when she went on the FBI list, and when there's a $2 million price on her head. So when you go to Cuba, trying to catch up with Assata is really almost impossible. But I have heard rumor that she is suffering from dementia. Not sure if it's a true rumor or not, but that is something that we've heard. But we have to also not forget about our political prisoners, especially some of our women that may not be locked up behind the wall, but they are political prisoners because, you know, they had to go to another country and hide out, and all praise due to Fidel Castro for allowing her in. I want to read something to you, and it's Assata in her own words. Right. My name is Assata, she who struggles. Ogabale, for the people. Shakur, the thankful one. And I am a 20th century escaped slave. Because of government persecution, I was left with no other choice than to flee from the political repression, racism, and violence that dominate the U.S. government's policy towards people of color. I am an ex-political prisoner, and I have been living in exile in Cuba since 1984. I have been a political activist most of my life, and although the U.S. government has done everything in its power to criminalize me, I am not a criminal, nor have I ever been one. In the 1960s, I participated in various struggles: the Black Liberation Movement, the Students' Rights Movement, and the movement to end the war in Vietnam. I joined the Black Panther Party by 1969. The Black Panther Party had become the number one organization targeted by the FBI's COINTELPRO program, counterintelligence program. Those of you out there who don't know about COINTELPRO, make it your business to find out. If you're listening to this right now and you don't know anything about COINTELPRO, find out. I was targeted by the FBI's COINTEL program because the Black Panther Party demanded the total liberation of Black people. Let me say that. She says, I'm targeted because the Black Panther Party demanded the total liberation of Black people. J. Edgar Hoover called it the greatest threat to the internal security of the country and vowed to destroy it and its leaders and activists. Now that's in her own words. None of that was my personal opinion. That was Assata's own words. I would also like to share just a couple of her quotes. Tell me if we get on a time thing.
Right, speak. The people need to hear this.
Okay, her quotes. I have 4 short ones to do. It is our duty to fight for freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. And that's what and that's what I think as a people we have to understand. We don't understand fighting for freedom. We want to talk about what's happening in Ukraine. Some of them understand fighting for freedom. When you say, I'm going to stand up against Russia and we're going to fight and we're going to make homemade bombs. And we have instructions on how to do it because we believe in our liberation. That's the kind of people we have to be. We have to also be willing to give our lives. I was listening to Ukraine's president this morning, and he said, listen, we will either win or we'll die. Now they're going up against a big power like Russia. We will either win or we'll die, because you have to have something worth dying for. That's where we have to get as a people. Her second quote, nobody in the world, nobody in history has gotten their freedom by appealing to the moral sense of the people who were oppressing them. See, we keep wanting white people to free us. We keep wanting the oppressor to free us. When I was teaching in the school system, I always use Dr. Cart's statement, oppressors do not teach people, they oppress on how to take the power away. So when you send your kids to these lily white schools and you're proud that your children are at Yale and Dartmouth and all these big universities, do you really think those oppressors are going to teach your little black child how to take power away? They're not. They may teach your little black child how to work high if he's brilliant in the corporate world for them, but they are not going to teach your black child how to take power away. So that's what Assata said. We have a problem when we start appealing to the moral sense of the people who are oppressing us. Another quote, and then I just have one more, and I'll close this out. People get used to anything. She says, people get used to anything. The less you think about your oppression, the more you're tolerant for its growth. After a while, people just think oppression is in the normal state of things. But to become free, you have to be acutely aware of being a slave. See, many of us want to say, oh, if I say I'm oppressed, I'm talking down. No, you're not. You are oppressed. Now it's like understanding that you are a slave and you must do something to end this oppression. I mean, Brother Haqq's just talking about us shooting each other on the street, but they do advertise when we shoot each other. White folks have been killing each other forever. They're like the biggest gangsters out there. They go into school and will destroy a whole class of kindergarten kids. So they're killing each other too. But who cares about that? Our concern is black life, not white life. Let white people be concerned about white life. And I say that, meaning that with every bit of my heart. Those are your people. If you're concerned about kindergarten kids being murdered, then you know what? Do something about it. Instead of buying.
I hear what you're saying. I understand that when we celebrate this month and we recognize the contributions of Assata Shakur, it's very important that these sisters need to know Assata Shakur's story. They need to know Joy Power's story and people like that.
Yeah, it is. And we have to understand the role women have played in the revolution and the freedom of our people all over the world. All of those sisters in Africa, we cannot act like sisters didn't play a role. And I think I learned this from
name, Doctor?
Huh?
That sister with your name.
Absolutely.
Well,
coming out of Ghana, Nzinga coming out of Angola. I mean, these were badass warriors.
Yes.
The last quote by Assata Shakur.
Yeah.
The schools we go to are reflections of the society that created them. Nobody is going to give you the education you need to overthrow them. Nobody is going to teach you your true history, teach you your true heroes, if they know that knowledge will set you free. Listen, I'm a prime example. We need to do a show one time on just how easy it was to fire me from the Board of Ed for teaching Black history and teaching African children that they were Africans and what that means. Public school system isn't going to do it, but over 7 million Black youth are in the public school system. So we need to get into that system and make sure that truth is told, but that educator that's teaching truth, like Assata says they should be doing, you have to protect them. They can't end up out here with no money, no pension, because they were fired and the community sat back and went, I say this all the time. December 12th movement was one of my biggest supporters when I was fired. D12, they're just not afraid. And they were one of my biggest supporters. I would say out of everybody that supported me, and there weren't a lot, there were just a few, D12 stepped up to the plate more than any other organization. So I just want to end this with saying, listen, Sister Assata is still in Cuba. Like I said, I don't know what her health condition is, but we have to keep giving praise to the Assata Shakurs, to the Ida B. Wells, to the Adeline Sitways. She's from Senegal. To our warriors all over the world.
Absolutely.
And there it is.
All right, we appreciate your contribution, and we ask all those who really like what we're doing and want to support the work, please share with at least 10 people. All right, sister, peace and love.
Much love to both of you, brothers, and thank you. These are some working brothers. Those of you that don't know, these two are working brothers. They don't do barbershop talk. They don't sit around and talk about what's happening, barbershop talk. They are out there on the front lines doing the work, and I give you all sorts of praise for that. Take care.
We appreciate it, sister.
So to these sisters out there, we say be like these warrior women. You understand? And Assata, women like this, put their foot down and make dudes get out here and fight. One thing Assata Shakur said, if you're not out here fighting your people, you dudes out there, you's a punk. Assata said that. You're not fighting your people, you's a punk. So stand up.
You just showed the homie women.
And no,
the homie women, big warrior fighters.
Also, our people need to read the history of NATO's role in what's happening over there across the pond. Read this with NATO role in Libya, Honduras, Guatemala, Congo, Africa, you understand, and different places, the coups that they have established through which they rob more than $60 billion a year from Africa.
Absolutely.
They
all right,
study that
all
too.
Right. All right.
Peace, sister.
Yes, so I think we covered a lot. We gave the people enough to really focus on, and we ask that you share at least with 10 people, because these messages have to go out to the people, right? We don't do this because we don't have nothing else to do. We do this because it's a part of the work. We in the studio once a week, and when there's something coming up, we out in the community. Right now, what we putting together is we have an open letter from Sundiata Acoli to the residents in Queensbridge. I'm going to be out in Queensbridge probably Friday, if everything goes right, and put up that banner. The banner is his personal letter that he gave to me, and it's open letter to the community of Queensbridge. So we ask that people respect it and people take pictures of it, put it on social media, and spread the word. Because as Sundiata said, and I will continue to say, it's not up to the state to free political prisoners. It's up to the people, taxpaying citizens, the people, to free political prisoners. So, brother, you got any closing remarks? I said everything that needed to be said.
No, it's just good to get the information out there, and we're saying to our people out there, search and search and search for more and more information, reality of what's happening in the world, in regards to our children. We're going to teach the truth to our youth. There's a big move, you understand, to tell our children lies and myths and everything like that. So it has to be a big upsurge, in our search for reality, real information, and get the information on our political prisoners of war. Free them all.
Free them all. And you know how we do? We close out with our brother.
Give credit to this idea, Miss Kathy Hughes of Radio 1. She's like, Michael, it is time that you guys organize a fund to set aside to help people who sacrifice for our freedom. Meaning, every time something happens, I hear this. Why don't the gang bangers jump up and do something for us? Why don't you kill them? You kill each other. And I say to myself, when is the last time you sent money to Assata Shakur? When is the last time you sent money to Matulu Shakur? When is the last time you sent money to Mumia Abu Jamal or Larry Hoover or Jeff Ford or Leonard Peltier? When is the last time you have made it your business to send money to a revolutionary or a hoodlum that has helped us? And until we start to do that, how can we ask these young men to be warriors? Because if they do it in the name of the hood, at least the hood gonna honor their name always. At least the hood gonna make sure at least their children got something or their mama's house is looked after. As a community, if we're going to ask people to bungee jump for us with no cord, be prepared to take care of them when they get a life sentence. Be prepared to look after their families. See, I don't mind the work getting done, but let's take care of the workers. Let's stop asking more out of people than we would do for ourselves. So what I'd like to see, my dream thing, is to see 1 million people from the culture dedicate $10 a month. That's $10 million a month, $120 million a year toward taking care of civil rights leaders who have worked on our behalf and are elderly now and don't have to take care of themselves, like Rosa Parks, whose rent was paid by the owner of Little Caesars Pizza. We should have had a fund to make sure that she never had to worry about that again in her life. We should have a fund that makes sure money makes it to Assata Shakur, and Matulu Shakur has legal representation and food, and Leonard Peltier, who has diabetes in jail, can get insulin taken care of. And until we start doing it, $10 a month is about what you pay on a couple fast food restaurant visits. So if 1 million of us do that for the rest of our life, look at how well we'll be taking care of the people that we're asking to sacrifice on our behalf.
I agree. And